Jimmy Page, and in memoriam, Jeff Beck. Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. That's our intro to tonight. A cold 11th day of 2023 here where I'm at. And again, thank you for clicking on. Jeff Beck passed away today at the age of 78, and maybe one of the most underrated guitar players in the world. Technician, I don't know, man, a legend. What can you say? If you're a rocker, what can you say? Jeff Beck. A lot of people don't know who Jeff Beck is, and that's the reason I played what I played. I know that people are going to recognize Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page from Zeppelin, and the three of them grew up in England and were peers, and you could tell the way they played off of each other. If you're a musician, you know what I mean. And Billy Wyman from the Rolling Stones on the I hated those basses, but I only played them when I got up and jammed with somebody. When somebody else is on stage and their rig's already up there, and we get up and jam with them. But that's beside the point. The Yardbirds. And a good evening to everybody. Now, those of you that watched that live, I don't know how many of you there are, and it really doesn't matter. I was going to play it regardless if I was the only one watching it. Thank you for being here. You'll probably be the only ones that see that. Out of all that talent was on that stage, somebody's going to hit me with a copyright strike, more than likely. So that'll be cut out. Sean American Rebel, good evening. LePrue, hello, good vibes to you too. Sissy McLeod, Ohana, Mater, Eric Clapton, Slow Hand. Rest in peace, Jeff Beck. Thank you, Chud Buster. Jeff Beck, yeah, one of the best always. Hi, L. Smith, Jungle Jane. Sound popping. I'm sorry about that. Is it still popping? Let me try that. I'll back off of it a little bit. Mama Red, hello. And I hope I didn't miss anybody. Yeah, everybody recognizes Clapton. Everybody recognizes Jimmy Page. And a lot of people, because like Jeff Beck was Rod Stewart's guitar player for a long time. The Rod Stewart sound was Jeff Beck. No, the video, crap. All right. Well, it's probably getting copyrighted as we speak then. But anyway, a tribute to Jeff Beck to kick the night off and say hello to everybody. Been a weird one. It has been it's been a weird day. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to talk about a conspiracy theory to start out, one that I've talked about quite often, and one that I'm not going to let go of because I see it as a clear and present danger, and that is the fact that the Speaker of the House of Representatives is number 3 in line of succession to be President of the United States. Now, we all sat last week, not all of us, but those of us that are political nerds sat through the determination that Kevin McCarthy would be the Speaker of the House. However, one person, any congressperson can come up and demand a hearing that the speaker be removed, and then a new speaker put in place. I don't know as it would be as long and laborious if this plan plays out, and I'm just going to give you something to think about, as we always do here. I found this, actually, this popped up onto my uh, recommends from that gap tooth girl, kill zone 4629. Credit where credit's due. I've got the volume down because the volume isn't what's important. What's important is what's right down here. I'm going to let it run through one more time. Again, Matt Gaetz is speaking. That's why I got the volume down. The important thing is the streamer. And again, this is something to think about. They're wanting to remove Biden and Harris. Now, what do you do when you remove the sitting president and you remove the sitting vice president? You replace them with the Speaker of House. It's not going to be Kevin McCarthy. That's not the plan. Just saying, in my opinion, not the plan. So think about, though. Let's get going with our breaking news. Again, this may seem a little off to everybody. It's been a kind of an odd day and had some last minute changes. We're rolling along. As we always do, starting out with what the mainstream media says the top stories of the day are. And they indeed are. Probably spot on this 6. The New York Times, classified documents found in a second location associated with Biden. And, you know, I'm going to address this right now because it just popped into my head. I've had a couple of people over the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, and more than a couple. I've had people reach out to me over the past 2 or 3 weeks that are new to this, and they're like, why do you do news? You know, we can get news anywhere. Well, I do news for all the people that are in the streams all throughout the day or doing other things all throughout the day. They come here, they catch the news in like a 10, 15-minute version that is not, you know, not overly biased one way or the other, as many other newscasts are. That's why we do the news. Classified documents found in the second location associated with Biden. We will have more on that. NBC says the FAA system is restored after outages halts all domestic departures in the United States. There were, I think, 1,600 canceled and like 3,000 delayed. So everything came to an abrupt halt when there was a glitch in the air traffic control system. According to Reuters, embattled George Santos defies New York Republicans' call to step down. Okay, he's a Republican. Republicans are calling on him to step down. We'll talk more about that coming up. The BBC News, Sergei Surovikin removed as commander of Ukraine. He had been the commander of, not the commander of Ukraine, the Ukrainian invasion force. This is a Russian general that had been removed after being placed in charge for 3 months. So things not going good. That's a clear signal to even novice people that follow the military that when you can, you know, if you studied even a little bit of the Civil War, you know that the North had trouble with commander generals. New York Times, California storms deadlier than the last 2 fire seasons, and again more rain coming. CNN, a missing 5-year-old boy was pulled from his mother's arms in California flood water, and sadly, as of the last check I did, the little boy is still missing, and people are looking for him. It's serious stuff. If you've never experienced floodwaters, I've had a car washed out from under me. I've had what I mean by that is the car picked up and floated back down the hill, and I had baby girls in the car, and water coming up through the car. What's called a retention dam for a farm pond had given way uphill from this hill I was going up driving. It wasn't even rainy conditions, and then all of a sudden, there's nothing. There's no road under my car. My car is traveling rapidly back down the hill. So don't mess with floodwaters, really. That's our tip of the day, safety tip of the day. That is that's our breaking news. And oh yes, okay. Here's what I got to do. Um, got to flip this back over to here because I hit that there. And what did I close? No, I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry for that brief delay there. I said we're going to have more on this story, and we will. Let me do this so that I don't dox anything here. I'm not done reading it yet. I haven't even started. Okay, I said we'd have more on the Biden thing. Documents found. This is not a good look, especially since Biden and the Democrats were really harsh on, and justifiably so. They made a big deal about Trump not handling documents correctly, and then you go, and then just a few months later, it comes out that maybe you didn't handle them either. Classified documents found in a second location. Revelation is surely to intensify Republican attacks on the president, who's called former President Donald Trump irresponsible. I might term it differently, but nonetheless, Biden's aides found a new batch of classified documents at a second location associated with the current president, according to persons familiar with the situation. Second disclosure in 3 days of his retention of government files dating from his vice presidency. So these files are 6 to 8 years old. No, 8 to 10 years old now, because Biden's been in office for 2 years. And we're finding out on alternate days that documents have been missing all this time. Biden's aides have been scouring various places since November, when his lawyers discovered a handful of classified documents, which included briefing materials on foreign countries when they were closing a think tank in Washington. I said somewhere the other night that there's a whole lot more than that goes on than people realize. There's a lot more behind the scenes stuff that happens, and some of the stuff is the lobbying groups, mega lobbying groups, and the think tanks, and the power that some of these NGOs, non-government offices, actually wield. Anyway, let me get through the bookmarks, and then I will hop over into the chat for a minute, and I hope everybody's getting along over there since I'm monitoring it. And we start out with, again, on behalf of this from Jeff Beck family. On behalf of his family, it was deep and profound sadness that we share the news of Jeff Beck's passing. After suddenly contracting bacterial meningitis, he peacefully passed away yesterday. His family's asked for privacy while they process this tremendous loss. That's a beautiful guitar, too. Four gun traffickers have been charged with illegally selling over 50 firearms in Brooklyn, marking the first prosecution in New York State under a bipartisan gun safety law enacted last June. Law enforcement officials announced that, is according to CNN. Let me get rid of some of this as we go along here. And again, thank you all for watching, for clicking on. If you're watching live, thank you. If you're in the chat, Thank you very much. Always appreciate it. And if you're watching on demand, I hope you're having a great day wherever you may be. I found this just a little bit troubling. This comes from Reuters. Um, the serious doubt, according to the Pentagon Chief of Staff, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, imminent invasion of serious doubt, and this comes from the Chairman of the Department of Defense, Secretary of Defense, that an imminent invasion of Taiwan by China. I don't know. The rumblings I'm hearing is that Japan and America are ratcheting up security measures because of potential Chinese actions. I don't know. But that's what Reuters is telling us. That's what the mainstream's telling us. My stuff's more or less back channel stuff that we find out's true a few weeks later. Islamic terror attack in Paris train station is the headline. Mohammed Amin, a 31-year-old male Algerian migrant, suspected to be a soldier for Allah, shouted Allah Akbar while stabbing 6 people with a knife before being shot by an off-duty police officer. The media is unclear about the motive, and yet I'm not going to play this just because I really don't want to. I don't want to deal with the content on the channel at the moment. I will tell you to go to Twitter to Amy Meck, investigative journalist, and watch this video. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it with the sound and let you read the English transcript. I'm going to give you just a little bit of the guy's voice so you can hear what the guy sounds like. And if all of the if all of the watermarks weren't on here, and you just looked at this guy, you might think he was a college professor in the United States or something.
في 2050 سيكون مثلا عدد المسلمين في فرنسا أكثر من الفرنسيين ولكن نحن.
Okay, here we go. Come on. Why is this not? There we go. Actually, hang with me here for just a second. Hold on. That wasn't supposed to happen. Let's go to here just a second. Let me pull this up so that it doesn't, sometimes the bookmark will reset. Let me pull this up. And again, thank you all for being here. Whoops. Here we go. I don't want your voice, dude. as we always do, just a little something to think about there as we read along silence. Today, it's National Human Trafficking Awareness Day, and it's all throughout January, National Human Traffic Prevention Month. And as I mentioned, our friend Summer Dickerson is going to be having a protest rally to stop human trafficking. I think it is the 21st of January, but as it gets through, we'll make sure and have her on promote that, of course. These are this is a Marriott associate who has had training in anti-trafficking, and let's give this a listen in. See if we can.
In 2016, I received information through my police contacts that a male was allegedly using our hotel lobby to groom underage girls. Fast forward to 2008, when the same male was...
Okay, that's why... Bring it up. Okay. Try that one more time.
In 2016, I received information through my police contacts. A male was allegedly using our hotel lobby to groom underage girls. Fast forward to 2018, when the same male was released from prison early and he returned to the hotel. He was recognized by our lounge advisor. She rushed to us with this suspicion that she had that it might be the same male that we dealt with a couple of years ago. So my team started observing him, and as soon as he was joined by two underage girls, immediately he phoned the police. And what did it turned out that these two underage girls were no older than 13 and 15, and practically they were rescued from harm's way. In 2016, I received
there's a positive story, and also a serious reminder. Human Trafficking Awareness Day, and we talk about it all the time, and we still don't talk about it enough. It's still going on. It's still got to stop. It's still got to be brought into mind. It still has to be worked against. Okay, there's this thing that Republicans are saying they're going to defend, or they're going to defund IRS hiring. There's an army of 87,000 new IRS agents. It's all made up. The Republicans hollowed out the IRS and stashed its budgets. Rich tax cheats run wild. Meanwhile, you can't even get someone from the IRS on the phone. We're restoring the agency so it actually works for you. This comes from Representative Jerry Conley. So the new hires are basically to put the IRS back to where it was, to where it could investigate, to where it could do things, because during a certain administration, it was beneficial to his supporters, not his voters, not the people that rally for him, but the people that matter to him. It was important that they not be bothered with taxes, in my opinion. House Republicans actually wanted a balanced budget. They wouldn't try to slash IRS enforcement funding, which has an estimated 4.5 times return on investment. The more IRS agents, the more tax cheating they catch. It's not rocket science. By 2027, people making $40,000 to $50,000 a year would pay $5.3 billion more in taxes, while those who earn $1 million and above will get a $5.8 billion tax cut to offset it. Something to think about. I don't know. Are you being played for a fool? Or are we all? Social Security fund facts. Social Security and Medicare are paid for with separate tax. They add nothing to the national debt. That's NHING, nothing to the national debt. It is totally separate. It is your money taken out of your checks. Social Security has a $2.5 trillion surplus. Congress has, quote unquote, borrowed trillions from Social Security to pay for government spending while not paying it back. Doesn't work that way. It does for them. Doesn't work that way for anyone else. It may seem like a big club, and it is a very small club, and we aren't in it. George Carlin. So when Republicans say we need to cut Social Security in order to balance the federal budget, here's what they really mean. We've taken trillions from Social Security to pay for unfunded wars, tax cuts for the rich, and corporate subsidies. We need to cut your benefits so we don't have to pay it back. Just something to think about. Okay. And I wanted to replay this up today. A lot of talk about this over the last few days, and we're going to give it one more total look. And this was added late here.
Somebody practice their First Amendment right, you faggot! How you like it, huh? How you like your First Amendment rights? You like them? I love them. Whoa!
Calm down, Billy! Santa! No, Santa! No! Come on! No, Santa! No!
But this is what you wanted to.
Billy! Billy! No! Billy! No!
Somebody practices their First Amendment right, you faggot!
As we always do, just giving you something to think about. All right, here we are, back over here into the chat for a little bit. Going to probably have a little shorter episode than normal tonight because we had some difficulties with a couple of things. The cuts are never proposed to affect current seniors who mostly vote GOP. They always propose to raise the age of eligibility. Good point, Max. To me, anytime you scream in someone's face with a megaphone, that someone has the right to knock you out. Or knock it away, I'm sorry. Fair point. Run, 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 says Mater. There was basically one guy out there, and he quickly got surrounded, and then the reinforcements were quickly coming from one side only. It very quickly turned into a swarm mob. You can argue, and we could argue, whether he should have been where he was at, whether he should have been somewhere else, blah, 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 blah. Just that, you just take that incident, because that's what's going to be in court. That, what you just saw, that will be the main thing in court. And there will be a time when that will come to court. And you can like him or hate him, and is effective. Okay. And I'll leave it at that with that. And I'll hop over here to the chat as I promised. Here we go. Faye Allen. Like it done, well, they done it too, but they didn't like it done back to them. Okay, Mama Red agrees, Smith. I sure would. Violence is not the answer. There's clearer video coming. Okay, LaPrue. Who pulled out poo-poos? See, now I'm okay with this, with this kind of chat going back and forth. This is how people should engage, and I'm all for it. There's more than enough craziness that's going around. More than enough craziness that's going around. For those that don't know, that thought Defender Vance was locked away, he was at the January 6th vigil tonight. And again, like him, don't like him, I will argue his effectiveness. He is incredibly effectiveness. I will say that he is, he's at times incredibly funny. He really is. You know, I'm just saying it as it, and I don't have any reason to promote Ant. I'm just being honest. All right, the guy's funny, and the guy's incredibly effective, and a lesson from tonight, and a lesson that I need to remind myself of as much as anything. Last night I mentioned, you know, that sometimes you got to sift through things to get down to the truth, and that almost happened tonight. Watching a feed of the J6 vigil, a phone call came in, and the phone call said, the loudest part, the part that came out was, no longer want to be called child abusers or pedophiles. Now want to be called minor attracted people, or MAP. Now, first hearing, it sure sounded like the J6ers wanted to be referred to this way, which was just mind-blowing. Okay? Upon context, they were trying to say that the World Economic Forum, I believe the government, the international organization, I think it was the World Economic Forum, was suggesting this terminology to de-vilify the concept. Okay? Now, let's think about that for just a second. Is it more troubling? Would it have been more troubling had it have been the J6ers wanting to refer to themselves that way? Or is it incredibly much more troubling? So much more troubling that all sides should be aware that the World Economic Forum is possibly recommending this, because the WEF is the elite of the elite. And is this where it all comes from? And if so, shouldn't we all be looking at it? It is just something to think about. Okay, just something to think about. Actually, I've got a couple of more things here on the Twitter bookmarks, I think, that I want to touch on. But again, thank you all for being here, and thank everybody for being respectful that are doing so. You know, the intelligent adults that are having conversations and potentially even on different sides, because that's how we should try to make it. Not always going to be that way, but the longer we can make it that way, the better off it will be for all of us. Okay, hold on a second, that's for me, that's not for everybody. Here we go. All right, I'm going to hop back over here into bookmarks for just a couple of more seconds, and then I'll be back over here in chat, and we will do our final segment. Fox News, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has banned Latinx from the Arkansas government documents. And just something to think about. This is I wanted to get back over here because I knew I hadn't played this yet. And this is from Baldy Banks, as you can see. Bonus D yeeted scene, fallout from his latest campaign of Trucker Trench, I believe is who this character is, and he was on Telescope's channel the other night. Telescope's channel, Behind the Lens. It's the new YouTube replacement for Behind the Mirror. It's on Telescope, Telescope. Trench's best friend / donor / sister went live to set things straight after his appearance on Telly, short for Telescope's Tifa panel. Everybody on Telescope's panels and Tifa, so we hear. I don't know. I've never been on there. I don't know about those. Oh, it's crazy. I do have an episode from in the Wayback Machine that I'm going to go back and pick up one of these nights from somebody that was and still is a supporter and activist and considers themselves part of the Antifa movement. And we'll play that. In the meantime, let's listen to this from Baldy Banks.
So what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about live stream today in his panel and some of the things that were said and some of the things that were said by Trench. And we're going to talk about Branson. Yes, I was in Branson. I was there. You all know I was there. But I had told Trench 2 weeks ago to leave all of this alone, quit antagonizing people, and go and do something that is the absolute opposite. And I asked you not to do it. And I told you the consequences were going to be if you did. Then you can respect me. You've disrespected our friendship. And you have crossed a line. There's not probably going to be a way for you to come back. I had no intention, nor do I have any intention of any charges or attempting to file any charges against Scotty. I have no intention of calling the police. I don't care. He's gone. He left the next day. And you knowingly and openly decided to do whatever the fuck you wanted to do anyway, which is now causing me heat and trouble. This has probably ruined someone that I loved just like my own flesh as a little brother. Because you couldn't simply do what I basically begged you not to do. And I don't need that crap, because I'm done with it all. I walked away from all of it in August. I walked away. When I walked away from X-Ray, I walked away from all of it. Tresh, if you're watching this, I'm telling you again, leave me out of your drama. Leave me out of bullshit. You want to continue to antagonize and engage with people? Leave me out of it. Leave my sister out of it, and leave everybody else out of it. This is your fight. It's not ours. Not our fight.
Again, came from Baldy Banks' Twitter. And I almost forgot to share it. Good thing here. Yeah, and this one's for me, but I'll go ahead and share it since it's up on the screen. Many people have a book in them, but it takes a special kind of freak to lead the land of laziness, to cross the plains of procrastination and insecurity mountain, and find the blade of no one made you do this, and use it to cut your chest open and yank that book out. I got to write the follow up to this. I got to write part 2 of the 3-part series, and that's my reminder. So that's okay. Next time you hear Republicans in Congress complain about increased IRS funding, remember just 1% of Americans evade 1.6 or 163 billion in taxes each year. That's what the GOP is protecting. This is not a joke. This is how, I don't know, somebody may do near him or what, or if because it's kind of looked like it's just one side of his face. It's concerning. And okay, let me get back up here. Let me make sure. Okay, all right. This has been added. Video has been. Full speech can be found below. Thank you, ABC News. All right, wait that while we're here. All right. Yes, incredible, because I was really concerned. Looked like you might have something going on with the facial muscles, and don't want that. All right, hold on. Let me get back up here to this guy. Now, this, of course, is, and I'm going to let you ponder the question. This is Representative George Santos, a Republican from New York. We mentioned him in the breaking news headlines. His local county party, his New York State Republican Party, and the National Republican Party all want him to resign. For those that don't know, this guy rescued a widow that was about to get robbed by Jesse James. He rescued the Lindbergh baby. He was the first person on the moon. But lately he's been telling some lies, and they're just continuous, pathological. His latest today was that he was a college volleyball player. Politicians lie, okay? And when the politicians are saying, "Hey, this guy's a liar," we all ought to pay attention. Now, here's the question to ponder in the chat. If Representative George Santos were a new crayon color, what would it be named? Here's the thing. He says he's not going to resign, that there's no need for him to resign. Brazil is considering extraditing him and charging him for charging him with fraud. So far, the United States, there haven't been legal charges that have stuck other than lying to influence a vote, which hasn't been brought yet. So when the attorney or when the politicians are saying this guy's a liar, but yet they're not going to do anything about it, I thought maybe this might be a time for those that are trolls, calling all trolls. If you're a troll on the right, if you're a troll on the left, no matter where you're at, if you're a troll and you honestly believe in America, this might be a target to unite y'all. You know, this might be one that y'all can that all of you can get together on and say, you know what, this guy, we need to take this guy down. He's got people protesting outside his offices. He's got, you know, it's and I would not recommend uniting the trolls if it wasn't for a good and just purpose, because that's a potentially lot of power to unleash. But yeah, it might be. It's just something to think about. You know, I'm not the director of trolls or anything. I'm not the troll master. But somebody out there is. So what do you think? I'm going to hop back over in the chat, see what crayon colors, if anybody might be one. If we caught every lying politician and fired them, there would be no politicians left. That in itself is very true. My point is, when the politicians are saying, hey, this guy's a liar, he's already refused to resign. He has. Yeah. Nassau County's no small potatoes. All right. Okay, I'm going to run ahead with the hop back over and run ahead with the this comes from India, okay? Now, those that have been following the 1776 RM and opposition from the time of the Suicide Squad forward, you know that we've crossed out of the in real life activities, and everything is court related now. And how easy it seemed that restraining orders were levied. And I just want to share this from Bartholomew County, Indiana. Judge Ron Rodell denied a Columbus, Indiana woman's request for a protective order against her estranged husband. 10 days later, the police found Julia Schmidtke murdered by her husband. Judge John Rodell was Columbus's former police chief. That's in Columbus, Indiana. Something else that some of you might want to think about, or at least be aware of: a third of the United States have not reported COVID cases for a week or more at this point. Indiana, staggeringly, has not reported any COVID cases for nearly an entire month. Something happened here. Also from Indiana, from Harsh for the county. Now, we all know about the politicians in D.C. Actually, a lot of the power on our local levels are in our county councils. They're in our school boards. They're in our county commissioners. Here is what one Republican from Indiana has to say, running for county council. At this point, there is no candidate too far right for me. Repeal civil rights, ban abortion, ban teachers' unions, enormous tax credits for straight married couples, bring back the Spanish Inquisition, and cleanse the churches. I couldn't tell you my limit. Why does this matter? I love you all on the coast. I love everybody on the East Coast, everybody on the West Coast, all my friends in liberal areas, all my liberal friends everywhere, my conservative friends everywhere. This is what the area governments a lot of us live in look like. Okay, those of you that again live in really blue areas, this is going to seem so foreign. Those of us that live in more red areas, we're going to say, yeah, we hear people talk like this all the time. Maybe that's why those of us in red areas are a little more fearful every time there's a potential disruption that might lead to a national conflict than those that are in predominantly blue areas. I don't know. Just something to think about. Hopping back into the chat one more time at the end of our bookmarks there for the night. Restrictions and control are what fear and hate lead to. Well said. Lolo's Lounge, we know, which is why we work to uncover the truth. Lolo's Lounge, they do work to uncover the truth. Gal Suburban, I believe, is the name, is her moniker. Incredible researcher. Yeah, Lolo's Lounge tries to. We just tell you what to think. We just give you things to think about over here. Other channels are actively doing the work from one side or the other on all different kinds of things, as it should be, and not enough do the work, in my opinion. But I try to do my small part and just let everybody know things that are going on. And also make sure we tell the truth about things, because you are going to hear that the J6ers now want to be referred to as minor attracted people, MAP. And that's not what actually was said. That supposedly came from the World Economic Forum. I haven't had time this all happened, in such a time I haven't had time to fully research if there is an actual World Economic Fund statement along those lines. I'm assuming there is at the moment. Doesn't mean there is, okay? Just to get all that out. And while I'm talking about it, I said earlier, if you like him or hate him, Ant is effective, all right? Ant's effective. Ant's funny. If you like him or hate him, Telescope is doing something different on his channel. And today, he said something that was wrong and went back and found the evidence and showed that it was wrong and said it was wrong. And that's a step that a lot of other streamers or restreamers or channel hosts or whatever, that's a step that they aren't taking. So, kudos for Telescope for actually doing the truth thing. And the good thing about doing the truth thing, and why I do it, is because when I wake up tomorrow, I don't have to remember what I said. I don't have to go, oh my God, I got to make sure and follow this thing that I told this thing wrong, and I told this lie, and I got to make sure, and if you don't tell any lies, you don't have to worry about what you said. And it's a path. It is the path less traveled on the internet, and it's what we've always tried to do here, and it's probably why we have 500 viewers an episode to 1,000 on YouTube alone, let alone from where it might be if we just did stupid bull poopy nonstop. Those are the channels that get the views, and I'm cool with it. I'm not envious of it. I choose to do the truth thing and try to do the truth thing and try to get the channel down the middle. You know, I'm not personally, but when I'm on here, I try to steer us as close as we can to being able to hear each other, being able to exchange ideas, and Ant does that too. He's very straight up. One of the things I like most about him. You two, so many good ones. Thank you, Shelley, for saying that. Ant, man, Ant can go. All right, Ant can blast it out, blare it out, and again, he's quick-witted and he turns from one subject to another. But he can get a little cringy too, for my taste, at times. Just saying. But yeah, he probably, you know, in his mind, he's probably speaking his truths. Telescope, funny and smart, says L. Smith. To check, astonishing how so few can rule over so many, isn't it though? And we play a big part in that by constantly battling each other to try to remain in the same place instead of all uniting to try to advance for the betterment of humanity. Yeah. Okay, tomorrow night is going to be game night, and I'm not 100% sure what we are going to do. Minor attracted, yeah, that was the words. Well, see, that's Sam. That the whole thing was the statement that came out predominantly was we want to be referred to instead of pedophiles and child molesters, we want to be referred to as minor attracted people. Okay, that was when those words came out, everybody's head lit on fire, myself included. We had to get a little bit of context to it, that those words were not necessarily what the J6er that was on the phone wanted them to be called. He was saying that's what the World Economic Forum wants all people that we would consider pedophiles to be labeled, to de-demonize the terms and the ideas and the thoughts and the actions, and it's to try to normalize and somebody that has grandbaby daughters, the idea of normalizing that is probably a very, I mean, I have no doubt it's a very hard line for this particular older man. Just saying. Please be respectful in the chat. Yes, thank you, Sissy, for that reminder to everybody. And Mater, you can find it on Stormtroopers channel on what's the glory lady, you know who I'm talking about. There were several streams down there, and the person I happened to be watching, the channel I happened to be watching, they were restreaming Ant, and we heard it all the way across the street on Ant's recording. So it's there, but again, it could have easily, and it probably will get twisted by other places. I just want to make sure that it's out here, that if they say J6ers want to replace pedophiles, being called pedophiles with being called MAP, that was not the context of the call. Just to get it all out there one other final time. That was debunked. Okay, thank you, Lolo. I hadn't had time. I haven't had time to look at it. All right, I've got some things going on, and stated that earlier that we would check into it. If it was debunked, that is an awesome thing. Pedos didn't invent that term. It's been used in psychology for ages. It's a mental disorder. It's not to normalize, but an attempt to destigmatize. Okay, thank you, Tupelo. That's what I love about this. That's what I love about not ever being the smartest person in the room, is because you can always learn. And it's okay to say, okay, I was wrong about that. You know, it's media literacy is important. I think that caller was using it because he doesn't like the word economic. He doesn't like the World Economic Forum. I imagine he was using it probably because he's misinformed. But that was the context given to the call. And anybody and everybody can go back and watch it, probably on numerous streams. Can always learn. That's right, Mama Red. Try anyway. May not always be possible, but again, I'm not sure what we're going to do tomorrow night for game night, but we'll come up with something. Probably just some, you know, some fun trivia. I don't know. Maybe name that tune. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we can come up with. I'm going to hold off on the on doing the charades idea until we can get a little better, till I can get somebody lined up that is really good at and likes to act out stuff and have fun. In the meantime, I want to show this. We've been watching all of this stuff for almost a year. Every year there is something called March Madness with the NCAA. And these were the brackets from last year. Let me get it down to where you can see the whole thing here. All right. Started out with 64 teams in total, and they play down in head-to-head competitions all the way down until they get to going the wrong way, until they get to the final 8, then the final 4, and then the championship game won last year by Kansas 72-69 over North Carolina. So why am I showing that? Well, because the tournament comes at the end of the season. It comes to finish everything off. And it's almost time for March Madness. It's almost time for the tournament to begin. And we are going to have our very own concept of March Madness. It's going to be called possibly the something like the Chutter Dome, or we'll come up with a name for it. You know, we can't use March Madness obviously because that's copywritten, and plus we're going to start it in January and run it through March. What it's going to be? It's going to be. You're not going to be able to see that. Okay, this is just a quick handwritten example of how the brackets work out. And once the brackets are filled, then the tournament begins and the head-to-head voting begins. So it's going to take a couple of weeks to fill the brackets, and then we will have the actual competitions going on, and you will be able to vote throughout all of this and determine the champion of whatever we determine this to be. What's that championship mean? Well, you can term it the most influential, the most well-known, the biggest personality. You know, it can be interpreted a number of ways. So 2 out of the 8, there are going to be 8 eight brackets, 1 bracket per category, and 2 of the brackets are already filled. So we need to fill 6 brackets. The 8 brackets are going to be the non-1776 convoy personalities, truckers primarily. That'll be the top 8. Now we'll open it up, and not right now, it's not happening yet, but when we open it up, it will be, okay, you pick your top 8, whatever category it is, and everybody that votes will go through and tableize it all and determine who the top 8 are out of all the truckers from non-1776. Okay, that's the Sasnak guy in the trucker, or the what was the one wolf guy that's walking across the country? Those guys, okay, and whoever else did not go forward. Now they can be your favorite, or they can be the most infamous. It's all up to you. This is your game. I'm just providing the brackets. The 8 brackets will be non-1776 convoy members. The chatters. Who are the top 8 chatters? This is going to be an interesting one. They all will. The top 8 live streamers. The top 8 1776 RM people. The ones that you identify most with, or identify, the ones that you identify the most with 1776, okay, in your eyes, or your favorites, or your least favorites. Again, it's all, it's all in perception, and it's all up to you. Content creators, we'll have the top 8 content creators. We'll have the top 8 trolls. Okay, we have the top 8 Suicide Squad bracket, the opposition bracket. We have the top 8 objects from this past year. Those 2 brackets are filled, and we're going to open up. I'll open it up. I'll probably open it up tomorrow for our first, and possibly first and second brackets, to get them started to fill those up. And we'll have those open for 3 to 7 days, depending on what people think. This is, and this is going to end it all. We're going to take it down to the champion. Okay. Will you show us the brackets? Well, I will once they're all filled out, of course. But right now, this is what it looks like. This is what it's going to be. And again, this is just hand drawn quickly, and I'm covering up the bracket for the objects and the bracket for the Suicide Squad, as they were known at that time. And then we will fill the brackets. We'll have a blind draw for the 6 brackets we fill, to see who's going head to head in round 1, who potentially in round 2, all the way. And then the winners of each bracket will be in the Elite 8, and they will go head to head into the Final 4, the Final 2, and the championship, just like the brackets. So the members of the Suicide Squad. So the Suicide Squad bracket. So don't vote for any of these people for anything. They are guaranteed to be in the tournament. Okay? That is, of course, AP, Lori Arnold, Defender of Ants, Pluck the Patriarchy, Telescope, Red Squirrel, Freedom Squirrel, and the eighth one is Jersey J. Those 8 were the Suicide Squad at the mall. Those 8 are in the brackets. It's going to be drawn out, and they'll all go head to head. There'll be 4 head to head matches in round 1 out of that bracket, and then they'll be the champion of that bracket. So don't vote for any of them for anything else, because they are guaranteed to be in. The objects that are guaranteed to be in are poop buckets, costumes, lawn chairs, voodoo dolls, Frankie Bobby's truck, fire truck, flags, and horns. Those are the 8 objects, and one of those objects will be the champion of objects, and you'll be able to vote on all those. And then, so those 2 categories are filled up, and the other 6 categories are open. So somebody may not win as, let's say somebody doesn't win as live streamer. They could win as troll if they qualify as both. All right, it's all up to you. There's not going to be a whole lot of forcing you to do things you don't want to do. And we are going to start off. The first group that we will fill will be 1776 RM, simply because there are some people that would possibly fit into that category that might fit into others. And so we want to fill those spots first. So first category that's going to be open is going to be the most well-known, the most liked, the least liked, however you as an individual term to do it. 1776 RM characters. And we will fill that bracket. And then once we have that bracket filled, that, if somebody that maybe didn't get in as a 1776er might get in somewhere else if they qualify. That'll all be up to you. It sounds probably a lot more, it may sound more complicated than it really is. All we're going to do is go through 6 rounds to fill the brackets, and then we'll watch it all play out. And I'm going to try to get a whiteboard and have behind me with it all on there as we go through it, so that everybody can keep track. Max Flower said there was a member called Teddy Bear. Yeah, there was. It might be, it might be a good idea just to brainstorm a little bit about, who actually, how many have been involved with 1776? What are their numbers? Does anybody know? I bet Jeff has the best idea probably of details about that organization. But we got a pretty good idea who a lot of them are. Of course, David Rydell. We know he's part of it. But yeah, there was, because it goes back. We're going all the way back through the season. It doesn't have to be somebody that is active right now, and we may not know who's active right now. No, Robert. No, most dragon-like. You can use that and fill in one of the names if you think. Most Snorlax. You're getting closer. Snorlax. I hadn't heard that one in a while. Salamander. Not a dragon. Roberto, not a dragon. He's a salamander at best. Okay. And I hope I didn't do something disruptive on the forces of the internet by potentially suggesting all trolls get together and go after George Santos. I would not like, I don't want any bad vibes from the inner tubes. Oh, hey, that gap tooth girl, I used your little short, very, very great catch. I'd tip my hat if I only had a hat. That was a good catch earlier, and thank you for your posting. Two below. No, I didn't. Nope, I didn't. I didn't upset anybody with you. I used it very respectably. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So, teasing the brackets a little bit. Our first one is going to be 1776 RM. We got 2 filled already. We're going to fill 6 of them over the next few weeks here, and have some fun. As the NCAA March Madness tourney goes along, we'll have some fun too. And who knows? We got head-to-head things going on. We might be able to get both of those characters up here at the same time. Who knows? We'll see how it develops. It's a first time. There might be some bugs. There might be some glitches. A beta version of it, if you will. So, thank you all for clicking on here. Thank you for watching that are watching on demand, watching the replay. Again, if you watched live from the start, you're probably the only ones that are going to see the opening clip. But so it will probably start with me talking, and then the video from that gap tooth girl. If we have to, if we have to cut it for copyright, which I hope we don't, because it was meant in tribute, and I'm going to close it out that way. Rest in peace to legendary guitarist Jeff Beck, passed away today at 78 years old. I'll see you tomorrow night at 10. We'll have our look at the news. We'll talk a little bit. We'll play some games. We'll have some fun. Doofus After Dark on Thursday. That's what we do. This is the American Doofus channel, Doofus After Dark. My name's Barry Welsh. I'm your host. That's my book up here and up there. And you can find it on Amazon and most other bookstores. All 3 of my novels, actually. And I will be back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. in the Pacific. And we'll do it all over again. And I hope you all out there in California and in the West stay safe. And no matter where you're at, I know it's crazy. I got people restreaming me in various countries in Europe, and I think that's awesome. And I hope it says that in the subtitles down below that if you don't speak English. Wherever you're at, I love you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for clicking on. If you want to message me, email americandufus@gmail.com. It's all one word, AMERICAN DUF. americandufus@gmail.com. Thank you. Love y'all. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. We'll do it again tomorrow. Peace.